Ready, Chair.
Okay. I'll now call to order the Planning Advisory Committee meeting. On July 24th, 2025, we acknowledge that this is a sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located, has been the site of human activity for over 10,000 years, and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and the water in order that we might meet here today. We're also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all of our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, being mindful of generations to come. I'm Jacqueline Grimes, the chair of this committee. I'll now take attendance of our committee members. Councillor Jay Brennan.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Robinson.
Present.
And Claus Vandermeer.
Present.
Okay, can I have an approval of the agenda? Moved by Jay, seconded by Stephen. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes, Planning Advisory Committee meeting June 10th, 2025. Moved by Jay, seconded by Stephen. All in favor? Disclosure of monetary interests? None. Public meeting report number PAC 25-05, permission to expand application MV-25-03, 110 Beckwith Street North. So we'll now open the public meeting portion of the Planning Advisory Committee meeting to consider a permission to expand application number MV 25-03 for 110 Beckwith Street North. The purpose of this application is to seek permission under 4.23.7, permitting extensions of non-conforming uses of the zoning bylaw to expand existing single-story quickie convenience store by 67 meters squared. The proposed expansion will accommodate an addition that includes new refrigeration equipment for the sale of wine and beer beverages, merchandise, shelving, and office space. The subject property is zoned downtown core and is designated as downtown core in the town's official plan. The zoning bylaw permits convenience stores in several zones, however not in the downtown core zone. Therefore, permission to expand the non-conforming structure is being requested through this application. This meeting is your opportunity to provide any feedback on these applications, and the Planning Advisory Committee welcomes any questions and comments you may have. We encourage you to do so at this public meeting, as the Planning Act rules suggest that the public's ability to voice objections later in the process may be limited if written or oral comment is not submitted. The Planning Advisory Committee is the approval authority for permission to expand applications. The committee will review the application and consider comments from the public to inform their decision on this application. I will now pass the meeting over to Richard Grant, Planner 1, to report on the notification and the summary of the permission to expand application MB-25-03 for 110 Beckwith Street North. Following his presentation, we will open the floor to comments from the public. The applicants or their agents will also have an opportunity to address any concerns brought to the floor by the public.
Okay, let's get into the background. So the applicants for McEwen Petroleum Limited, which are the ones applying for this application, have proposed an addition of 6 to 7 meters for the existing quickie convenience store. There is currently a site plan amendment application in process. This application for permission to expand needs to be addressed first before we can finalize the approval for the site plan amendment application. The convenience store, as discussed earlier, is a non-conforming use in the downtown core. The existing uses of a convenience store and automobile service station having long-standing legal non-conforming uses on the subject property, previously permitted under the former C3 highway commercial zone. The concept is a one-story expansion in the rear yard of the subject property. There will be updated merchandising layouts. They provide spaces for interior renovation that includes a new wine and beer, beverage coolers, merchandising shelving, and office space. On the exterior facade, the exterior facade will be updated with Quickie's corporate logo as well as the existing pylon sign. There will be no changes to the gas pump, the storage tanker, or the ESO canopy. and vehicular access points and pedestrian access remain unchanged. The existing pylon sign will also be complemented with 28 feather reed grass ornamental shrubs. No trees are proposed. Here we have a picture of the key map, and here we have the preliminary site sketch. In blue, we have the portion of the rear addition where it's being located. And here we have elevations of the proposed facade improvements. And I know you can't really read it well, but this is a preliminary interior works site sketch. And here we have, this is a site visit to show you what the exterior looks like currently. In terms of feedback, we only got feedback from the chief building official. Feedback from other agencies have not yet come in, so we're just waiting on that. The CBO did not have any objections to the proposal and has no comments at this time. In terms of, I guess, the policy, we reviewed the downtown core in the official plan, and we also reviewed the zoning definition of a convenience store, as well as the permitted uses in the downtown core, which do not include a convenience store. In terms of the assessment, because it's a permission to expand, it's not using the typical 4 tests of the Planning Act that we typically see here at these meetings. So we're looking at only 2 questions. If the application is desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and will it create undue impacts on the neighborhood? So for the first question, staff are of the opinion that the proposed expansion is desirable because it is consistent with the official plan's intent of the downtown core, meaning that it's going to maintain a vibrant mixed-use and pedestrian-friendly community, and it offers an opportunity to enhance the user experience at the convenience store. The proposed use does not alter the mixed-use character of the neighborhood. For question number 2, the staff's opinion is that the proposed expansion is not expected to negatively affect surrounding neighborhoods or diminish the existing mixed-use character, considering the fact that it already complies with the downtown core's non-residential buildings performance standards, and the proposed expansion is not considered to be producing any incompatibility or rather impacts to the neighborhood. And the reduced rear yard that was created as a result of the expansion also allows for sufficient sunlight, air, and adequate fire separation from the adjacent residential dwelling. And any potential impacts from the expansion can be mitigated through the site plan control process. So staff recommend the approval of this application as proposed.
Thank you, Richard. We will begin by hearing from the applicants for any additional information or presentation as it relates to this application.
Hi there, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Stand up there? Okay. No problem. So I'm Jonah Vaughn. I'm a member of the Institute of Planners and a registered professional planner. I do a fair bit of work with the owners of this particular service station. As you may know, it's actually the McEwen Group out of Maxville. So I've got a fair bit of experience with them, and I've generally found them to be, highly responsible and respectful property owners and developers. This particular site, I wasn't brought into it until somewhat recently. I understand they made application for the site plan control for the expansion, and it became apparent through the consultation process with the planning department that there was not a variance, but rather a requirement to expand the permission for this non-conforming use, because this gas station, while it's existed there for many years, it was under a previous zoning bylaw, I think it was highway commercial, that it was in fact permitted. As the township planning evolved, the use became non-compliant, or as some people would call in layman's terms, grandfathered. So now we have this prosperous gas station in sort of the nexus or the top end of the downtown core, where there's a lot of traffic coming in. So it certainly is viable and prosperous. Otherwise, the developer owner wouldn't be considering investing such a considerable amount of money into it. But we need these permissions, of course, to expand it. At the same time, I think it's fair to say, and I don't think the applicant would be offended, the storefront has become somewhat tired and faded. So there's a whole facade upgrade program, which is part of the Quickie rebrand. It is branded Quickie now. McEwen actually acquired the Quickie brand not too long ago, and at least throughout the Ottawa area, I've seen in the surrounding townships and municipalities, they've rebranded their stores with a fresh new logo and a fresh new look. And like many other convenience stores, they've also expanded their offering to appeal to people who are looking for alcoholic beverages, wine, beer. And it's not that this is purely an automotive related site, because in fact, as you know, it has excellent pedestrian connectivity with the neighborhoods on one side, and also it's got good connectivity to the very pedestrian friendly downtown core. So I think this is going to be a useful amenity. It's not only going to complement the patrons who come to fill up their cars with fuel, but also it will likely draw from people in the surrounding community who want to pick up these items as a matter of convenience. So the site, as you may know, has a drive-through window in the back. I take it from my research, maybe perhaps some of you would recall here, it may have been a McDonald's at one point in time. So there's sort of an abandoned drive-through window. So from looking at the back of the site, it could use a facelift. So we're basically going to be, deleting that, pouring a new footing, building a new back around it, and the drive-through, the drive-around component will still be there, but it won't be such a wide distance. There is a fence and trees and shrubbery buffering to the houses on the other side. I would note this is not really a site plan process we're talking about here. So anything that requires buffering, cutoff lighting, enhanced shrubbery, that'll be a matter for the planning department and the applicant to take up as part of the site plan control process. So those are essentially my submissions, and unless anyone has any questions or comments, I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you. We will now hear from any members of the public who wish to speak. Comments?
Wanted to come and see what was going on.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are there any questions from the committee members for the applicant? Plus?
Just curious, Blair's Funeral Home is right next door.
That's right.
Are they aware of what's going on?
Well, I didn't consult with him personally. I did speak to Mr. Grant about this, and he indicated that a circulation had gone out to the community, and I wasn't required to make any direct consultation with them. So I haven't personally spoken to Blair Funeral Home. No.
Nor have we
get a
received
notice.
anything.
They get a notice.
You don't know.
They got a note. A notice was circulated within a certain radius, and I offered, of course, to do it, but I think Mr. Grant suggested, in fairness, it was well publicized and notice went out. So
I guess the reason I asked, it's
Yes.
a busy corner.
it's busy. Yeah.
Busy corner. It's going to be busier with beer and
Well, yeah, we were not going to be, so if, agreed, like it's certainly the intention is, it's quite costly, as you can imagine, to build a 67 square meter expansion to a building. So of course, the obvious desire is that they can return a decent amount on this significant investment. I don't know how much more it's going to drive in terms of vehicular traffic. Certainly, we expect, it's going to be helpful to pedestrians who in the area who want to walk in. Will it drive more fuel sales at the site? I mean, possibly. I couldn't really put a number on it without a traffic study. I'd be simply guessing here if I were to tell you what the impact would be, but we'll have to leave it at that.
The sale of beer and wine is going to be quite a bit, right? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that appreciate the investment, and I don't know that there's too many corner stores in town that have not taken advantage of the ability to sell alcohol. So I don't have any concerns with this at all, and we'll be talking about the site plan later probably. So
Right.
it is an investment in our businesses in town, and I thank you and congratulations. I support it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, that's just a quick one. I also am going to say that I'm going to support the initiative. Yes, it is a busy intersection.
Yes.
However, it's a four-way stop, so I don't see that being an issue at all. So I'm all in favor of it.
Yeah, for what it's worth, my opinion, having spent, like I do know the town obviously not as well as you, but I do know it. And I've spent some time walking around, and, you know, I noted there's good pedestrian connectivity, there's good control systems with the lights and pedestrian signals. I walked all around a number of times. So, you know, I'm encouraged to see that it's not, in my view, going to be burdensome to the infrastructure that's there.
Thank you.
Right. The committee is tasked with deciding on this application. If the committee is ready to do so, we'll now entertain a motion to approve, not approve, or another decision. Jay?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second? Okay, all in favor? Marie, do you need me to read that motion out loud?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're moving that the Planning Advisory Committee approve permission to expand application MV-25-03 110 Beckwith Street North, which proposes a 67 meter squared expansion of the existing Quickie convenience store as submitted. Thank you for attending and participating in the planning process application for MV 25-03. Anyone requiring further notice regarding the application is asked to leave their name and their number, a mailing and email address on the sign-in sheet located at the table by the door. Appeal rights as described by the Planning Act will be outlined in the notice of decision. If you have any questions on the application or the process, I invite you to talk to Planner 1 or the planning clerk. This concludes the public meeting portion of the Planning Advisory Committee meeting. We'll now move on to our next agenda item. So our priority issues, report number PAC-25-04, application for site plan control amendment SPA-25-01.
Okay, so I'm just going to go quickly over some of the project details just so I avoid some overlap. So we talked about the 28 feather reed grass ornamental shrubs that will be surrounding the existing pylon sign. Staff would be recommending additional trees on the other side of the subject property, and they'll be planted on the town's right of way. So there's a little space on the Beckwith Street North side for some plantings, and similarly on Elmsley Street North. So staff are just suggesting that at least one tree would be on either side just to sort of enhance the site already. And we have to be mindful of the hydro lines, so small ornamental trees as opposed to something huge. That would be the consideration that staff would have. And also trees along the rear lot line, essentially, so that back fence, so trees just kind of like along there as well, in addition to the fence, just for additional screening. Now, I don't necessarily know if there's space for trees to survive, but if there is, that's where we would like them.
Richard, how high is the fence?
The fence is the standard size. I didn't measure the fence since it's on the other side, but I'm guessing 1.8 meters high.
Okay.
So there's existing screening is what you're asking. There is, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that that fence is sufficient, especially since it's
If the applicants are not proposing any additional lighting on that back when they have the addition, if there's no lights there, then the additional screening would be fine. But this is just extra buffering just so that it kind of enhances the vegetation on site.
Gotcha.
That's all. For parking, site access, and lot circulation, there's adequate parking available, and the functionality and circulation will not be changed as a part of this proposal. There is existing water and wastewater service connections, and the proposed addition will not affect access or adequacy of existing services. In terms of the elevation, the existing elevation also includes the updated corporate branding for the Quickie, and they're also suggesting a Quickie logo that's going to be illuminated. Now, for the elevation, staff recommend that the drawings be revised just to demonstrate the materials of the exterior facade, just for further review. But essentially, if you recall, the images that were just shown for the elevation is going to have a red roof, and it's going to be Quickie logo, and then the walls would be dark gray, and there'd be like a ribbon of masonry materials at the bottom of the store just for that sort of appeal. With respect to the illuminated logo, the downtown sign bylaw does not allow illuminated signage in the downtown core. So the applicants are encouraged to look for non-illuminated signage as an alternative to the proposed illuminated Quickie sign. In terms of urban street furniture, staff were considering adding a bike rack and a bench. So the bike rack would be on site and the bench would either be on site or on the town's right of way, just so that we could increase the functionality of the site and support pedestrian mobility. So in terms of questions, we just had questions in terms of what would be, I guess, the appropriate non-illuminated signage if you had any considerations, and if the screening was adequate or not.
Just a question, the sign is illuminated now,
That's right.
correct? So that doesn't get grandfathered?
Yeah, but if there's a new logo, it's gonna be a new sign, and hence the conversation. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the committee?
So, yeah. So with the signage, you want people to find the store at night.
See, I
And
know,
then-
I know.
And then, so is there a type of signage, what do they call that? The dark sky?
So
signage?
dark sky compliant means that it's basically designed that the light is downcast and not shining to the sky.
Okay.
So that's more for exterior lighting when you're looking for just identifying the structures on site. So that's not what this is. This is kind of like branding for the sign and making it more visible.
So, if you drive down here, there's Tim's, there's Burger King. They're illuminated signs, right, at night?
Yeah, I
Or they-
mean,
or they turn them off?
Tim's has
the gooseneck
downlighting
lighting.
on.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay,
They do.
I get it, yeah.
Right.
So that's an option then.
Mhm.
So that's something that
It's
they could look
gooseneck
at.
lighting over.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. It looks nicer too. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
So the applicants will have to come back to us with a proposal for non-illuminated lighting.
okay.
Yeah, and I suppose
Sorry.
I suppose that gooseneck lighting could be actually faced towards the sign,
Yeah.
so that it would illuminate
The sign. Yeah.
the
yeah,
sign
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So if the illuminated sign is a deal breaker, then that might be an option
Around.
to have a gooseneck coming down but pointing towards the sign.
Yeah, they'd have to revise how they're looking at, I guess, placing all the lettering and everything, I guess, when they come back to us.
But and the other thing being, I personally don't think that there needs to be more of a buffer between the back of the proposed addition. And the reason I'm saying that is there's nothing going to be happening back there. There's going to be maybe a rooftop unit, which there's probably already two of them up there anyway. And the noise is not going to be any more than what it is now. So I can't see that being a problem.
Okay.
Don't need a motion or
No,
It's just
this is
feedback?
just just feedback, yeah.
anything else? Move on to the next item on the agenda, project updates. Still none.
No.
Next meeting, Thursday, August 14th, 2025. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Jay, seconded by Stephen. All in favor? Carried.
That was easy.
Usually is with these guys.